Walpole. My name is Ellen Curran, and I am your host to Walpole Green. Our goal is to present to you programs focused on the effects of climate change and what we can do about it. I am a member of Walpole Green. Walpole Green is a group of Walpole citizens dedicated to a healthy environment and to achieving 100% renewable energy. We believe in protecting our natural resources and working to address the climate crisis in Walpole, our state, our country, and the world. Today, we will talk about the advantages of heat pumps and what the Community First Partnership is about, including its role in obtaining heat pumps for Walpole citizens. I am very pleased to present to you Energy Manager for Walpole, Sharon, and Norwood, David Ruggiero, Julie Barbour-Issa, Energy Advocate for the Community First Partnership Initiative for the same three towns, and Will Ruggiero, Senior Energy Efficiency Consultant for Abode. Mr. Ruggiero has been employed in the high-performance building industry for more than 20 years. He has worked as a lead accredited professional, a certified energy auditor, and for 13 years at ICF International as a consultant with a focus on energy efficiency and green building projects and programs ranging from Energy Star to Passive House to the DOE's Better Buildings Challenge. Closer to home, he served as an advisor in 2009 Massachusetts Net Zero Energy Building Task Force, managed the Massachusetts Zero Energy Challenge and the Mass CEC Green Affordable Housing Initiative. Presently, Mr. Ruggiero serves as the energy manager for the towns of Norwood, Sharon, and Walpole via a cooperative agreement. His primary responsibility is to administer Green Communities program for each town. He also works to facilitate other green initiatives throughout each community. Julie Barbour-Issa serves as the energy advocate for the Community First Partnership Initiative for the towns of Walpole, Norwood, and Sharon. These three towns were awarded a grant funded by the Mass Save sponsors Eversource and National Grid to provide cost-saving energy efficiency solutions to residences, small businesses, houses of worship, and local nonprofits. The Community First Partnership Initiative has a particular emphasis on increasing participation in the Mass Save program among renters and landlords, English isolated residents, low to moderate income households, and small businesses, although all residents and business owners can participate. Julie is a lead accredited professional and has an engineering degree from University of Michigan and has experience in community engagement and outreach. William, Senior Energy Efficiency Consultant for Abode Energy Management, has extensive building experience. For more than a decade, he has performed energy ratings in thousands of units and has amassed 20 years experience in the building and energy efficiency industry. He is a quality assurance designee, and he has conducted radar trainings. He has also worked in various weatherization programs. William also served as program manager supporting Mass Save efforts to install efficient heating and cooling systems. As a Massachusetts construction supervisor license holder, William has spent time renovating homes to be efficient and converting them from delivered fuel to clean heating homes with heat pumps. At Abode, he continues to help consumers and contractors take steps to improve the projects they work on. Welcome, all three of you. quite a list of accomplishments. We have, well, at least 50 years of experience between all three of you. So I'm going to start with asking David some questions. And David, can you give us a history of the mass efficiency programs?
Sure. I'll try to make it short. It is about a 45, almost a 50-year history. Some of us, at least two of us, Ellen, no offense, will remember the OPEC embargoes that really impacted the United States and much of the world in the early and mid 1970s. And as a result of those oil embargoes, two things occurred in 1975. Massachusetts really developed, created the Executive Office of Environmental Affairs. And on a federal level, the Department of Energy was founded. And they were both charged with taking a hard look at how America provides for its energy use and its relationship to the environment and economics. And that sort of trudged along for maybe 20 years until deregulation hit. And in Massachusetts, about 25 years ago, the electric industries were deregulated. And as part of their regulatory requirements, they had to create conservation programs. And maybe 10 years after that, the gas industry went the same route, deregulation, conservation programs. And again, that's been the norm up until about the early 2000s. About 2005, things started to change. Within a few years' time, the state adopted some environmental goals as well as energy goals. The Global Warming Solutions Act, which is coming up repeatedly in the last few years, was brought into existence. And with that, in 2008, the Green Communities Act was adopted by the Massachusetts State Legislature. And we'll get to that a little bit more since Walpole is a designated green community. But the Green Communities Act created the Mass Save brand and brought together on a more an umbrella approach to how efficiency programs are administered by the investor-owned utilities in Massachusetts. At the time, there were 5 or 6 electric utility companies and 3 or 4 gas companies. But everyone pays into a general pool, and then those programs are administered according to an agreed upon 3-year plan, which has been in effect, the 3-year plans. There have been 4 or 5 of them that the utilities, the DPU, has agreed to, which makes programs that everyone that pays into the program can participate in, whether they're electric or gas, whether they have a residential account or a business account, a commercial account, industrial account. Anyone that pays in can take money, incentivize their energy improvements by really going above the code minimum, by going above the performance of everyone else in the state. And these plans over the last, 20 years have been focused on 1, 2, maybe 3% energy savings or reductions over the course of a year or the course of a plan, 3-year plan. And all of that has changed quite recently, which is why we're talking with you today. Late in 2021, the governor signed into law a roadmap to decarbonization. It's called the 2050 Roadmap to Decarbonization, with very aggressive goals at 2030 and at 2050 to bring the energy sector into a net zero energy environment. And in order to do that, efficiency programs had to change dramatically. And as of January 2022, where a new efficiency program, a new 3-year plan, was approved by the Department of Public Utilities and administered by Mass Save, The amount of money and the goals that were allocated and established really turned the industry on its head. We're not looking at 2 or 3% savings over the course of a year. We're not looking at a gold standard of 15 or 20% savings for a given project. We're looking at net zero energy projects, net zero carbon emissions. In fact, one of the most fundamental changes was that efficiency programs are no longer judged on how much energy they're saving. It's on how much carbon they are saving. So what is the impact on greenhouse gas reductions? And this is important as it comes to, as pertains to air source heat pumps, because fuel switching is now allowed. It is encouraged. And we'll get into this in great detail, but if you have a gas-fired furnace or boiler in your home and you wanted to put in a heat pump, which is electric-based, the gas utility will pay for that conversion. They're not concerned about saving therms. They're not concerned about saving kilowatt hours. They're concerned about reducing greenhouse gas inventory or greenhouse gas emissions. So all of the money that's been allocated, $3.9 billion over the next 3 years, can be used to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So that's pretty much the history, a long history. It's a ramp up to a uniform program called Mass Save, and now Mass Save is involved in some aggressive greenhouse gas reduction goals. That's what I have for you.
Okay, that's interesting. So what I got out of it is that the way that the state and maybe Mass Save is looking at creating efficiency is how much less carbon do we use? Would you say?
Correct.
Emit, I guess, emit.
Yes. How much you emit, how much you save, it goes hand in hand with electrification is a key word now. So reduce the amount of natural gas or delivered gas, propane and heating oil to a bare minimum, and then clean the electric grid, create more renewable energy. So if you're using ultra efficient heat pumps, which can be 3 times as efficient as your most energy efficient gas furnace, and you couple that with 100% clean energy, you'll have zero emissions and very little energy being used to satisfy the same heating load or hot water load as you did prior to the upgrade. So
okay, can you tell us about the involvement of Walpole with the green communities?
Sure. Walpole became a green communities, a designated green community, as it is formally known, in March of 2021. And so that's just a little over a year and 15 months ago, a year and 3 months. And with that, they adopted really 5 specific policies to qualify, which was expedited permitting for renewable energy systems, clean energy projects, the adoption of the stretch energy code, which means buildings must be more efficient, adopt a vehicle policy, a clean vehicle policy. And I'm trying to think of the last one, which is establish a municipal energy goal of 20% reduction within 5 years. So that's just municipal owned buildings and vehicles. And with that designation came a grant of about $166,000. And all of that is being used for a street light and LED upgrade throughout the entire town, which is about 95% complete at this point. And that's been done in combination with a Mass Save program through the Eversource sponsor. And you'll see about an 80% reduction in energy use, or the town will, from what they were spending to illuminate the streets at night. That translates into about $100,000 per year based on their current energy contracts. If they did not have energy contracts, that could be up to $250,000 a year. And municipal wide, that's about a 1.5% of the total town's energy use reduction just from that one upgrade. Green Communities is also benefited by applying for both META and REPA grants, which is regional energy assessment grants, and we did win one in combination with the 3 towns that are involved in my position to help write a municipal handbook for net zero energy compliance and net zero energy municipal operations. And this is going to be important as the new middle school comes online, since that's aiming to be a net zero or net zero ready facility. So the other benefit with Green Communities and the involvement is we talk to a lot of different communities. I attend a lot of different lectures, get a lot of different emails from various state agencies. And one of them, brought the Community First Partnership to my attention, and ultimately it's benefiting Walpole as well as Norwood and Sharon. And Julie has now taken the helm on that program. So it's great to be involved in the program directly because we're getting funds, and indirectly because we're seeing all of the other programs that we can benefit from and participate in.
Okay. What current heat pump projects are under development in Walpole?
I'm going to touch on 2 that I'm actively involved with. The new middle school is going to be 100% heat pump and 100% electric. So all of the heating and hot water will come from heat pump technology. It is considered a performance-based program through Mass Save, meaning in total, the entire building, how tight the building envelope is, its orientation, the type of windows it's using, the amount of insulation, and as well as the mechanical systems, will bring it to a level of performance which is about 2/3 better than most schools within the state, and definitely within Walpole. So it has a very low energy use intensity rating. So that is based on heat pump technology. The other project is the high school. There's a lot of movement in bringing air conditioning to some of the sections of the high school which don't have it because of hotter days in September, in May, and in June. And the talk of air conditioning brought in Eversource, which said, well, if we use heat pumps to cool, and then use heat pumps to actually curtail some of the fossil fuel use, that's going to be a good thing. You'll see energy use go down, you'll see cost go down, and they'll also require, through this program, that all available weatherization be completed within the school, which is a good way for me to wrap up, which is if you're considering heat pumps in any building, whether it's a home or a business, the utilities will say, yes, this is a great technology, but we want to save as much energy as possible. So let's go through and look at your insulation levels, look at your weatherization. Are your windows tight enough? Are your doors tight enough? Tighten up the building, put in a new technology, and realize even greater savings. So from a municipal perspective, they're playing by the same rules, and the middle school and the high school are participating in 2 unique Mass Save programs, which will use heat pumps.
So I have a question. So it was regarding Mass Save and heat pumps, or actually not Mass Save, but the utilities that how, in what way do they, does the electric company, I guess, involve, how are they involved? Do they have help pay for the heat pumps or the installation? How are they involved?
Most utility programs offer 2, I guess, levels of participation, or 2 products. One is technical assistance to make sure that what you're installing is appropriate. It can be a very, form that you fill out. I meet the following criteria. I'm exceeding state mandates. So they'll help in that way, or they can send out an energy engineer to assess the building. They'll hire energy engineers. You're going to hear from Will DeRigo, a lot of what he has done and does do. And then they will incentivize the project. It's never 100%, but I think Julie and I were talking before the show, and I said if there's one message to get across is that incentives and technical help today under the new Mass Save program are better than they've ever been, and probably better than they will be maybe next year or a few years out. So if you're considering an upgrade to a heating system in your home and you're considering heat pumps, now's the time to act. So they'll give you plenty of assistance.
Thank you so much. So now we're going to Julie. Julie, can you tell us about the history, the purpose, the goals, and programs of Community First Partnership as part of Mass Save?
Sure. So the Community First Partnership is a 3-year initiative, and we're about halfway into the first year. And Walpole is a partnering with the towns of Norwood and Sharon. And the purpose is to provide outreach to those that have been traditionally underserved by Mass Save efficiency programs. But again, all residents qualify. So I actually have a quick presentation, if I can share my screen and present on that. So again, Walpole has been chosen to participate in the Mass Save Community First Partnership. This is a big time collaborative effort between the Mass Save sponsors, all of these towns, and community-based organizations to increase awareness and participation in these energy efficiency programs. The local efforts in Walpole are sponsored by Eversource, and we are working again with the towns of Norwood and Sharon. Our efforts are focused on especially increasing participation to renters and landlords, to English isolated households, to low and moderate income families and small businesses. But again, anybody can qualify. These are Mass Save incentives that work for everyone. The first step in the process is to get a no-cost home energy assessment. Both renters and owners qualify for a home energy assessment. And what will happen is an energy specialist will visit the home, and they will do an assessment of the need for energy saving devices, the health and safety of your heating and cooling system, and then they will look to see if there's a potential for air sealing and insulation, like David just chatted about. The energy specialist will also install energy and water saving devices. This is again for both renters and owners. And this can include water saving faucets and shower heads, programmable thermostats, and advanced power strips. And then at the end of the visit, the property owner will receive some recommendations about efficiency improvements and information about incentives. Some of these incentives can include no cost air sealing in your home, 75 to 100% off the cost of approved insulation, rebates on high efficiency heating and cooling equipment, and this includes heat pumps. And then there's a lot of financing options, so you don't always have to pay all of this out of pocket at once. So again, why to get air sealing? Air sealing is closing up the holes and gaps around the house that stop the drafts. So in the winter, if you feel that little draft coming in by your windows, air sealing can help take care of that. Leaking air can account for up to 30% of a home's heating and cooling costs, which can be the equivalent of having an open window year round. So we don't want that. Why insulate your home? So insulation in the walls can save up to 20% on the energy for heating and cooling. So insulation is like a hat and a sweater for your home in the winter, which keeps the heat inside. And then again, in the summer, it's almost like a cooler for your home, keeping the heat outside. And again, like David said, heat pump rebates have never been higher. Right now, we're looking at air source heat pumps up to $10,000 off, ground source heat pumps up to $15,000 off. There's more incentives that are income eligible And then there's also other mass save rebates for Energy Star appliances, clothes dryers, and things like that. So Walpole's goals for the Community First Partnership are to insulate 52 homes, to do 20 high efficiency heating and cooling upgrades, and then do 20 small business energy assessments. And depending on how we do with these goals, we are eligible for more funds, which would mean more outreach in the next 2 years. Like I said, income eligible customers can receive even more incentives. This can be up to 100% off the cost of energy efficiency upgrades like insulation and air sealing, HVAC replacements, and efficient appliance replacements, depending on your income and how that matches with the state median income. And then lastly, small businesses, they also can start with a no-cost home energy assessment, and then they will receive customized energy efficiency recommendations that help match what their business needs. And again, the incentives have never been better, and the sponsors would pay up to 70% of the upgrades, leaving only 30% for the small business owners. And then to get started, you can sign up at masssave.com/NSW, that's for Norwood, Sharon, and Walpole, or you can call 781-536-9864. And then again, one of the advantages of us being in this program is that you can have direct access to the Energy Advocate, that's me. And if you have any questions, or if you really need help, or you just wonder if you qualify for something, you can email me at jbarbourissa@norwoodma.gov. That's jbarbourissa@norwoodma.gov. And I might not have all the answers, but I can definitely track down someone who does, and I can hold your hand through the process. So it does make it a little bit easier.
Okay, thank you. Very interesting and very well done. Appreciate that. So I'm going to ask you, as the energy advocate for Norwood, Sharon, and Walpole, what is your job?
So my biggest job right now is to do as much outreach as possible and make sure that all residents and small business owners are aware of these energy efficiency programs and know that they are the best that they've ever been, and just make sure that we're kind of attacking it from all angles. We're going to be sending flyers, we're going to be doing social media posts, this show, all kinds of things like that, and just really raising awareness for it. But then again, like I said before, one of the advantages of it is if you do have questions, if you need help, you can speak directly to me. It's not just calling some number that you're on hold or whatever, or you're waiting for a phone call back. You can just speak directly to me and I can help you through the process.
Okay, so you are the go-to person.
That's right.
Okay. I think you already said, explained this, but I'm going to ask you, is there anything additional that you can add about how Walpole citizens benefit from this program and what they're offering? And you did a very good job, but is there anything?
I just want to emphasize that a lot of these incentives are the best that they've ever been. The heat pump rebates are the best they've ever been. And some of these programs really can help you lower your utility bills. They're better for the environment. So this is the time to take advantage of them.
And one more question, which I think you might have also answered, but how is Community First Partnership involved in obtaining heat pumps for those who qualify for one?
Yep. So you would start with the home energy assessment, and depending on the layout of your house and how your house is set up, different heat pumps might make sense. So once you have your home energy assessment, you would get a list of contractors, or you can use your own contractor, and they will walk you through the process of what would make the most sense for your home. But again, I do recommend doing air sealing and weatherization first, just so your heat pump can be the most efficient it can be. And a lot of these things like air sealing are free. So,
and financially, it's probably the best thing you can do for the least amount of money that you would be spending.
Exactly. More bang for your buck is always good these days.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know whether this is within your realm, but do you know what the range of costs would be? Maybe Will would know for a heat pump.
I'm hearing that each heat pump would be about $5,000. Maybe Will can speak to it a little bit more, but depending on the layout of your home, it really can change on how many you need and where you need them and that type of thing.
Okay, thank you. So now we are going to Will. Can you tell us about Abode and how it's involved with Mass Save?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So here at Abode, we work as the lead vendor for National Grid in the space of home performance contractors. So basically we're going out to jobs that have been weatherized in National Grid territory and just checking out that work on the weatherization side. That's really our biggest capacity for the Mass Save program. But of course, at Abode, we do a lot more. And I get into that, as we go on.
Okay, what's your role?
So my role is, I'm an energy efficiency consultant, and I actually work on the various portfolios of work that we have at Abode. So to kind of keep it specific to Massachusetts, since we do work in some other places, our newest venture is actually going to be with the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center, and there is currently a decarbonization pathways pilot. So right now I'm helping assist there. In other capacities, I do heat pump consults for customers in municipal light plant territories. So people outside of the Walpole area that might have, they might not have access to the Mass Save incentives. So we do some work there. And in those meetings, I have about 20-minute meetings with folks and just kind of talk to them about the options in terms of heat pumps specific to their home.
Okay, and what types of heat pumps are available and are they effective? Or maybe the better ask is how effective are they during the winter?
So great question. Yeah, they've really come a long way, especially in the last 5 years. There's such a great variety of heat pumps. And as you heard from David, they're even putting them in schools. So I do have a couple slides I can share, really, really brief here. Your traditional home, like most people might be familiar with, may have either forced hot air, so they have ductwork in the home and they don't see anything, or they're looking in their home right now and they might see either baseboard or cast iron radiators. With the different heat pumps that are available, there's actually options for both. So currently there are really new good systems that can work with ductwork. So again, everything would be hidden. You wouldn't see it. It would just be like the one that's there now. The unit would either go in a basement or in an attic, kind of in a hidden space, and then distribute the air through the ducts. Other systems that are out there now, which folks might be used to, are these wall-mounted units. So they basically hang on the wall, close to the ceiling, and they're going to provide air from a rectangular kind of shaped box that hangs on the wall. There's actually a new few types too that either fit right in the ceiling itself, or they mount on the floor. So again, where you might have cast iron radiators, you can pull those out and now put in a floor-mounted unit that can fit in that space. So lots of different styles and options that can be used.
I just wanted to add that for 20 years, I lived in a condo with a heat pump, and that was before they were so efficient as they are now. And I was warm and I was cool, in the winter, and I was cool in the summer. It was very efficient, and it for the air conditioning, it was really low cost.
Exactly.
Even
Yeah.
then.
Yeah. Right. They've come a long way even since then. There is a database that you can look at, and Mass Save has their own. It's going to be the heat pump qualified product list. And that's important to kind of reference because those are really looking at heat pumps that are meant to perform in our territory up in the Northeast. And you can even go beyond that. There's another site that you can look at, and it can give you ratings all the way down to -13 degrees. There's even a carrier system. It's like an American brand. There's lots of other ones, but this carrier system is rated down to -22 degrees. So you can see they're still putting out heat even in the coldest temperatures, the extreme temperatures.
That's great. What types of buildings can heat pumps be installed, and what challenges or limitations could consumers face?
Right. So now with all these new different system types, they can go in anything pretty much. There aren't many challenges anymore because of all the different types that are available. They now make units where, and again, it's, I'll be able to send out this link. I'll send, it's through the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center. It's a nice guide that gives really great pictures of kind of like what the systems look like. But you can have a combination of, in one area, some ductwork, and then another area which may not have access You could do one of those like I mentioned, a wall mounted unit or a floor mounted unit. So they can go into anything. They can go into small office buildings. They can go to bigger office buildings. There's some even multifamily high-rise buildings where they're being engineered and designed to go into those. So they work anywhere at this point.
Okay, that is fascinating.
Yeah.
So I think we've talked about this, but I'm going to ask the question again. How are heat pumps environmentally friendly? Maybe
So
you
they're
can answer.
friendly. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So basically, we're taking off delivered fuels. So basically, oil, fossil fuels, propane, other items offline because it's using a lot. Basically, the power of kind of just the air outside, and it's moving heat from indoors to outdoors or outdoors to in, whatever season you're in. Just like your refrigerator, it's just using that electricity. And as we clean up the power grid, whether it's going to be through solar or community solar, wind farms, that energy is going to start getting cleaner and cleaner. So again, you're kind of just really, really reducing carbon emissions that way.
Okay. And can you give any advice regarding the use of heat pumps?
Sure. Yeah. So I think it's more when you're going to be talking to your installer, some questions to ask would be, appropriately size my system. Can you size my system appropriately? Like, can you do a load calculation? That's like a really good piece of advice to ask because you want to make sure they're making sure it's designed for that home. And then another thing that we've kind of learned over the last few years and kind of in the long term, but is that these are better set and run a little bit differently than your furnace or your old fossil fuel system, in that you don't want to kind of set it to set back at nighttime and kind of like ramp up and down. It's a little bit harder for a heat pump to do that. It performs better and actually more efficiently when it just kind of runs at a constant temperature throughout the day. The reason for that is just the temperature differences are there. So you'd feel a little bit more comfortable by keeping it at a steady kind of temperature throughout the day and the evening. You can set it back a little bit, but you don't want to drop it from, say 70 degrees to 58 degrees at nighttime. There's just too big of a gap there. It's just better to kind of set it at one temperature there and make it kind of work that way. So it's probably the best advice.
I think historically, that's what people have done over the years before we sort of now becoming a little more modernized and don't have to do that. Less effort as well.
Right.
So we have one more question and we're going to Julie. And Julie, maybe you can tell people if they're interested, how they can find out more about heat pumps. And I know that you already said they should contact you, but perhaps you can sort of tell us again.
Yep. So again, our website is masssave.com/NSW. If you want more information specifically about heat pumps, you can go to masssave.com/heat-pumps. And there's a lot of information on that website if you want to dig around there. And again, my email address is jbarbour-issa, that's jbarbourissa@norwoodma.gov. And yeah, like I said before, I might not have all the questions, but I can track someone down who does. And I am happy to hold your hand through the process and get started on this.
Okay, I want to thank everyone. You gave us a ton of information. Hopefully people will be motivated to look into it and start buying heat pumps. And David, it looks like you'd like to say something.
Yeah, just one closing comment from me. The Mass Save program is a ratepayer funded program. So if you have a utility account with Eversource or National Grid, you have been paying into this fund as long as you had an electric meter or a gas meter. So this is money that you banked and that you should be taking advantage of. So it's there for you, and go out and take advantage of it. So
yeah, it's your money, people. Use it. Use it and save the environment. I just also want to add that we do, Walpole Green also has a Facebook page. Please look at it. There's a ton of information. And we also have quite a few shows, episodes on YouTube. So please watch them. And again, thank you. Thank you, David. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Julie, so much for spending the time and giving us so much wonderful information. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.